So four-star defensive back Darius West was supposed to announce his college decision this week, but he decided to postpone that announcement to weigh all of his options. Should Kentucky be worried, and where do you think Kentucky stands with Darius?
Yeah, I think Kentucky is probably still the front runner at this point, but it's not the lock that I think a lot of people have made it out to be or have wanted it to be. I think it's likely that West is probably waiting to hear from Ohio State. I think if Ohio State were to offer Darius West, then I think it'd probably be difficult to hold on to him. But at this point of the schools that have offered, I still like Kentucky to be the front runner right now. We'll just have to wait a little bit longer than we had initially thought, and I would still expect probably a decision before the season once he gets a definitive answer one way or another from Ohio State.
Earlier this week, three-star defensive back Jared Tucker committed to Kentucky. That pushed their class of 2014 to the number 10 ranking in Rivals rankings, ahead of Alabama. How big is his commitment for Kentucky, and what will he bring to Lexington?
It's huge because it's kind of off the radar. You know, he's a name that we've known about for a little while, but it sort of was unexpected. He's got excellent cover skills. He was listed as a safety initially, and I think we still have him ranked as a safety. But he's really more of a cornerback for Kentucky, so he doesn't really conflict with Darius West or Mike Edwards or guys like that. He's a really skilled cover guy. He was down to Kentucky and Miami. He had 24 offers altogether, and he's just a really, really aggressive, attacking, skilled ball hawk in the secondary, and they definitely need help in the secondary. So that was very big.
Well, so you just said that he won't get in with Mike Edwards, that he's not really competing, but Mike Edwards had a tweet where he was a little disappointed over Kentucky going after all of these other defensive backs. What do you make of that, and is Kentucky in trouble of losing him?
Well, at one point it looked like a lock, and at one point it basically was a lock. I think he had basically told the coaches that he was essentially committed and he was waiting to go public. I think some people wanted him to wait and take his time. But now it's far from a done deal. Mike apparently doesn't think that Kentucky should offer a lot of other defensive backs. That's just not reasonable. I mean, they need defensive backs. They're not just looking to sign one or two. And, you know, the ball's in his court. If he wants to commit, he can secure his spot. But I'm fairly confident that he's not going to have a spot, you know, indefinitely. It's something that he's going to have to move on probably pretty shortly here.
Well, some good news from this past weekend. Three-star offensive guard Jarrett LaRubio committed to Kentucky. He was the first offensive line commit of the class. How much of an impact will he have on the line during his time at Lexington?
It's huge. I mean, he's one of the top offensive guards in the country. He's a guard. He's not a tackle. And a couple of different sources had told me before the commitment that he was really the nastiest blocker that they were recruiting. I mean, he is a blue collar player. He's very physical. He loves the physicality of the game. He's going to put his head down, and he's not going to shy away from anybody on the interior of the line. He had a really impressive offer list: North Carolina, Pitt, Washington, West Virginia, Wisconsin, some schools that are really known for pumping out first-round offensive linemen. And I think he's probably one of the 2 or 3 best offensive linemen that Kentucky has signed or has gotten a commitment from in a really, really long time.
Well, now on to Drew Barker. He's been making a lot of noise since he committed to the Cats. He helped create the Twitter account for the class of 2014 to promote Kentucky and reach out to other UK targets. Are uncommitted recruits noticing this Twitter account, and how much do you think it is swaying their opinion of Kentucky?
Yeah, well, I don't know that it's the Twitter account per se that's really swaying them, but Drew Barker's efforts for sure are having definitely a major impact. Guys like Braxton Berrios, the receiver from North Carolina that Kentucky just absolutely loves, the 4-star guy, has really moved a lot more in Kentucky's direction since Barker committed. I think it's probably had a big impact on Matt Elam, kind of pulling him back towards Kentucky, whereas maybe before Alabama was kind of making a little headway. Some other receivers like Garrett Keefe and Blake Bone, like I've mentioned before, Barker's really helped with those guys, and you might not see the immediate effect of Barker's decision because nobody has sort of singled him out as the main reason why they committed, but he's kind of given the class some credibility as an elite quarterback that it might not have otherwise had, and I'm sure that he's definitely helped the class a lot. He's a tireless recruiter. I mean, he covers this stuff probably more extensively than I do. I told him that he can have my job and he'll be better at it once he's done playing football. He talks to probably 30 or 45 guys through text on a regular basis.
Well, so you tweeted earlier this week that a lot of schools are telling Ohio recruits that tight end coach Vince Marrow won't be at Kentucky very long. Are the recruits listening to this negative recruiting, and what does that say about how other schools view Kentucky?
Yeah, they're definitely listening. Mikael Horton and a couple of other Ohio guys have mentioned that it's something other schools have told them, and I know that Darius West's father has mentioned that it's something that other schools have brought up as well. Ultimately, it's a good problem to have, because if other schools are telling your kids that a coach isn't going to be there, then that means that the kids really like the coach. Vince Marrow is very good friends with Mark Stoops. Kentucky allows him to be close to Ohio. So these are things that Marrow is able to kind of counter with when schools bring these points up. So it's not an argument that's fatal or lethal to Kentucky, and it hasn't cost them any recruit in particular yet. But it's just something that they have to answer, and they can't. Normally you don't want to have to respond to every accusation, to every negative recruiting tactic, but that is one that they have to respond to.
All right, Justin Rowland of Rivals.com, thanks so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you.